Welcome, replay viewers, and a special welcome to everyone watching the show. Welcome to the Special Needs Community live TV show. We focus on conversations that matter in the special needs and disabilities world. Our conversations here focus on challenges as well as the wins families and children experience in dealing with different. And along the way, we hope to inspire, to encourage, and to provide both useful and helpful information. So we invite you to join us to share your challenges, your inspirations and aspirations, and let's help us spread awareness of special needs and disabilities. So hello and welcome again. I'm Bridgetti and Banda, your producer and host for today. And my amazing co-host is Mary Elizabeth Jackson. Mary is an award-winning author of the Poolicious children's book series. She's currently working on another book as well as a movie screenplay. She's also a wife and a mother of 3 inspirations. Mary is also a special needs and disability advocate, and she lives in Nashville in the USA. So let us know where you are watching from, and I'm based in Cape Town in South Africa. Mary, hi, and welcome to the show today.
Hi, good morning. How are you? Well, I say good morning, but it's good evening for you, isn't it? So.
Yes, it is. It's so wonderful. Every single time we spend time together, I'm simply amazed at how we are able to connect from different parts of the globe. And that is one of the nice things about doing a live stream.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Yes, because you feel there feels like there's no distance between us. And so it's just, it's a wonderful, it's a great friendship that's come and over the last several years, and a great way for us to communicate. And it's amazing. I love it.
Absolutely. And, I'm thrilled that we're able to shine a light on special needs and disabilities. And it's a special topic for both you and I. Not something that I talk about that often, and perhaps I should talk about it more often. And so today we've decided to talk about fibromyalgia, which is something I have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird how that came about, because I went undiagnosed for so many years. And I think what's happened to me is not an isolated incident. I think that there are many people out there who may have fibromyalgia and they have absolutely no idea that they do. Now, I suffered from symptoms, or I had the symptoms, strangely enough, from a very, very young age.
I was going to ask you, how long did you suffer with it before you were diagnosed?
The better part of my life, actually, to be honest.
Wow.
And
wow.
I just didn't know what was wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
I had never, ever heard of the term fibromyalgia ever until probably about 2.5 years ago was the first time I had even heard the term fibromyalgia, and yet I had lived with the symptoms all my life. And I think that the one thing I want to possibly emphasize to people is that if you suspect you may have fibromyalgia, go and ask your doctor, because it seems that it's something that the doctors don't seem to consider or come up with. Because I found in my case, and I think people can relate to that, I've had symptoms that were symptomatic of fibromyalgia, but every time I went to see a specialist, they would treat me for that specific symptom.
Right.
But there was no one. Yeah. So you go, you'd say, well, my leg hurts, or my arm hurts, or something, right? And then they treat you for that.
Right. And you really do need to have. You need to have a doctor who's very tuned in.
Yes, that is the whole point. And we've moved away from specialist physicians, where they would look at you overall. Medicine has now become so highly specialized and skilled that you get a foot doctor, and you get an arm doctor, and you get a throat doctor, and you get a head doctor, and they do only that.
Yeah.
They don't do anything else.
Right. So you have to go, you have to have so many doctors for your care when you've got, I mean, I have to do that myself. And I have never been formally diagnosed with it. My mom's highly suspicious because of the pain that comes about. My mom was diagnosed with it. I'm not sure how many years ago. So she goes through a really hard time. And then I have a brother also, and it can be very disabling and debilitating. I've got a girlfriend who, over the years I've known her, she spends, she has bouts, she's just in bed. She's, that's how it is with her pain. And it's really sad. And you, as long as I've known you, you have bouts where you are hurting from head to toe and have to go to bed and cannot get things done.
Correct. And that's why they call people with chronic pain spoonies. I don't know if you've heard the term spoonies.
No, not for that. No. Why do they call them that? Just because they're in bed?
Well, the term spoonies comes from spoons.
Yes.
And so for every activity that you do, so you look at, spoons are your energy for the day, your energy. It's a measurement, it's a way of measuring your energy that you expend in the day.
Okay.
Now, this is something that someone who doesn't have chronic pain or fibromyalgia doesn't have to consider.
Mm-hmm.
But every single activity that you engage in during the course of the day will take X amount of energy or X amount of spoons.
Interesting.
So when you do things in a day, you constantly find yourself weighing things up, which is something people without chronic pain or fibromyalgia wouldn't need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if I wanted to go somewhere, for example, I'm going to give you an example now. On Friday evening, I wanted to go to a special service, which was the Lord's Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for me to do that, I had to decide what I was not going to do that day in order to make that appointment.
I understand.
Mary, give me 1 second. My MacBook is about, I just realized my plug is not plugged in. So give me 1 second, okay?
Okay. Is it plugged in? Are you plugged in now?
Yes, thank goodness for warning signs, because my computer would have switched off on me now.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good. But it's interesting.
That would have been interesting.
That's interesting though, because that's basically your life. It's, you got to be plugged in. And I understand where you're coming from. Mine is not so much that energy for pain related. It is sometimes. Mine is just for energy that has to do with my immune system and my energy levels, period. And so I have to do the same thing. Okay, so if I'm going to go tonight, say there's something going on, if I'm going to go tonight, I have to make sure I have a nap. So I have that energy to be able to go do what I need to do. And I usually will do a B complex shot, or B12 shot, excuse me, and in order to get through. And it's sad when you get used to that being your life. Like, I know if I have to be up all day without any kind of rest, by nighttime, I won't be able to stay up very late. I won't be able to do things that need to be done sometimes, and it's sad that you have to live that way, and that your body is, it's really no way to have to live, but it's the way to function.
Oh, absolutely. It's weird because I constantly, when I do life, I have to constantly weigh up things. It's like, I know that when I wash my hair and I blow dry my hair, well, it's pretty easy now that it's short, but I have to consider how much energy it's going to suck out of me just using my blow dryer, just doing my hair. Making my bed takes X amount of energy. And if I've made my bed, I can't do something else. So I've got to constantly wager, between doing things. So on Friday, typically I wanted to go out in the evening, which meant that I spent the better part of the day actually in bed, lying down, resting, because I knew it was going to take so much energy for me to go out and to sit in a chair that I didn't know what the chair was going to be like at the event.
For your
and
back.
and that's another issue for me. I can sit on a chair for 2 seconds and I will know whether that chair is going to induce pain. And if there isn't another option, um, my body starts tensing up because it knows that, the pain levels is simply going to be increasing. And so this is exactly what happened to me. Typical case in point. On Friday, I went out, spent the whole day in bed so that I could go out in the evening, sat on a chair that wasn't comfortable for me. And so while I was there, I always, I find myself whenever I go out, I'm playing musical chairs. I'm either trying to find a chair that will be comfortable enough, and my pillow is my attachment. Wherever I go, I have a pillow. I have a range of pillows. I have different pillows in different colors, so they try and sort of match my outfits. I don't look weird walking around with a pillow. But wherever I go out, I have a pillow with me because I need to have my back supported, irrespective of the chair. So I never presume that wherever I'm going is going to have a stash of pillows. I take my own, I come prepared. I can't wear, I don't, I have to be careful about a handbag, for example, because it hurts my neck, it hurts my back, it stresses me out, it makes my body feel tense. And so while I was at this event on Friday evening, if the chair is not comfortable, I'm up and down like a jack in the box. And I can do this when I'm out with a girlfriend as well. I'll sit, and when the pain sets in, I'm up and down. It's not great because I understand that it may make the person I'm with feel awkward or uncomfortable because I'm uncomfortable. We pick up on each other's energy levels. So if you kind of sense someone's restless, it's not that great. So I'm always having to explain myself and say, listen, my back is really hurting. Fortunately, most people I associate with is aware of that. But just imagine going to a restaurant, and then after a few minutes, you're in so much pain, you need to get up and down, go for a walk, go to the bathroom more times than you really need to, because it's not really that I need the bathroom. I need to get up and I need to walk and move about to reduce my pain levels. So those are things people don't generally consider. So what happened after Friday evening is, because I sat in a chair that wasn't good for my back, I have spent so much time in bed since Friday. I have been in so much pain since Friday, simply because I sat on a chair that wasn't right for me.
Yeah, I can't sit. Go ahead. That's basically what?
So that, for me, that's a combination of the symptoms I have from fibromyalgia and chronic back pain. It's not just one; it's a combination of the two.
Right, and then you can have weather. I know weather can set it off. I know, lack of sleep, nutrition can be involved. I heard a long time ago that doctors thought that fibromyalgia came from depression. Because they found most people with fibromyalgia were depressed. Well, if you're in that much pain, you're going to be depressed. So, well, what happened, the chicken or the egg first, right? So, I know certainly that pain is very depressing. It's really it's weird that, because I've known about fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue for probably 30 years, 25 years maybe, at least I've known about chronic fatigue. And because I was sort of diagnosed with that in my mid-20s, which is very unusual for somebody in their mid-20s, I think, to have that. It's sad that there's not any more solutions out there yet. In all this time, there's not answers. There's not more answers, better solutions, better answers, things that we can do. And nothing can take the place of resting your body and getting good sleep. Certainly nothing can take the place of that. But you would think with all the advancements that we've had, we'd be further along in the whole process of this evolution of pain in the body and fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, some other, even other disabilities that people have. It just seems like by now we would have more answers than we do.
I know, because, even though I now have a diagnosis, I mean, it was like an aha moment for me to finally have a word for it, have a name for it, and to know what it is that I'm feeling, that I've been feeling for so many years. Um, and the other interesting thing about fibromyalgia is that not every single person will have exactly the same symptoms.
Right.
So there are markers for fibromyalgia that they use to diagnose it with, but not every single person will have the exact same symptoms or to the exact same degree.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that I wanted to put out there, because somebody may say, there are different stages of fibromyalgia, and so somebody may have the beginning stages of fibromyalgia, and you cannot possibly liken that to somebody that has all the symptoms known and more about fibromyalgia. So you sometimes will get somebody saying, oh, well, I have fibro and I'm cured. And you go, really? So
What
and
makes them?
there's no one size fits all,
Well,
when it comes to fibromyalgia.
what makes them think that they're cured? What do you think makes them think they're cured? They're asymptomatic.
It could be that they're asymptomatic, and also, sometimes you have to literally experiment with what's available there, because with fibromyalgia there is no real cure.
Right.
You can just be asymptomatic, as you said, and sometimes the symptoms may lessen. And there's so many. It's a minefield. There's so many variants and degrees of fibromyalgia, and so many varying symptoms that I've joined a pain group, or a couple of them, and most people can relate to the symptoms that you're experiencing. And I think probably one of the things, as a takeaway, I want to say to people, if you don't have to suffer in isolation, because that's what I did for so many years. There are support groups out there. Find a support group.
Yes.
Because the one thing that's very difficult for people is, if they don't have an understanding of what you're going through, they can't offer you support, whether it's a spouse, whether it's family members, or friends, even close friends. So go and seek support from people that understand what you're going through. It's like anything else out there. Find a support group, whether it's online or in person, but go and find a support group.
Absolutely. Because, it doesn't matter who we are and what we have going on or we don't have going on or where we are in the world. Everyone needs to be supported in some form or fashion. They need it, they want it, and it's for your good and well-being is to feel that support. Even if you're an independent person, and want to do everything on your own and you feel, I don't need people, I'm fine, you still, when it would come down to bare bones and breaking it all down, you need to feel supported. It gives people, sometimes when they don't have that self-esteem that they need, it gives them that self-esteem that they need to get until they get their own, or to get them through a rough spot. So yeah, you definitely need that.
So just a little bit on the symptoms of fibromyalgia, and I wish I had known earlier. So one of my very first symptoms that I started displaying of fibromyalgia was when I was a teenager and I started my menstrual cycle. I had the kind of pain that was indescribable. Now, I know for every woman it's very different, but I can tell you, I used to hug a hot water bottle. I used to kick my legs against the wall. I used to throw myself on the floor. I used to hit myself with pillows because I was so beside myself with pain. Literally.
Your nerve endings were overdone. Your nerve endings were shooting off just like 100 times, higher, faster, whatever it is, than just a regular person next to you who doesn't deal with that. So your nerve endings are very, very sensitive.
My nerve endings are hypersensitive. Even even now, I think it just got worse over the years. Before I had my neck surgery, for example, when I took a shower, just the water trickling on my neck would be excruciating.
Wow.
And even now, I have got certain spots all over my body, and if I touch it, I would give myself an electrical shock. Never mind someone else. But
okay, so what does that mean exactly?
It's my nerve endings are
okay.
hypersensitive.
So,
and so
well, go ahead. I was just gonna say, so what is the solution for something like this? What do they put you on medication to calm the nerves down?
I have tried various medications over the years, and none of them have really worked for me.
Okay.
So, even if I'm on medication, those certain spots in my body, I can touch them and I will be in screeching pain. So that's what I live with every single day. My
I'm so
body is
sorry.
constantly in pain. And then one of the other symptoms is what they term brain fog, which is memory. Now, when my kiddos were young, it used to be a joke in the family. I used to forget my children's names. I seriously forgot my children's names.
Right.
And I would look at them and they'd say, "Mom, how can you forget my name?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, never mind. As long as you know what your name is, it doesn't matter."
Oh, right. Just wear a name tag. We'll be fine. Oh my goodness.
How insane is that? You forget your kids' names. I would
And so
literally.
they think that goes with fibromyalgia?
It's one of the symptoms of fibromyalgia is brain fog, yeah. So memory issues, and so I would look at something and I would just stare at it and I would think, what was it? I was going to do something now and I can't remember, or someone's name. I would stare at the person. I eventually overcame that by simply recognizing this is an issue I have, and I would just say to someone, "Hey, listen, what's your name again?" And so I do that instinctively now without feeling embarrassed about it any longer. I no longer feel embarrassed because I just realize it's something I have to live with.
It's just part of you. Yeah. And that's very interesting because I would say that I do those things now and have for several years. And then you go, well, you're just getting older. But yeah, wait, I'm not that old. So, should I really be, should I forget that? I mean, like sometimes in the morning, one of the first things I do after getting up is I put the water on to boil for hot lemon water. And the other morning, I went to turn it on and I had already boiled it and turned it off and didn't remember. And I that just freaked me out. Unless somebody else took it off the eye and I didn't tell me, or say, hey, mom, your water's boiled or whatever, or my husband, I walked away the other morning going, that really freaks me out. So,
absolutely.
But brain fog can go with a lot of things. It can go with adrenal fatigue. It can go with thyroid issues. It can go with having overloads of yeast in the body, toxicities, heavy metal toxicities. I mean, there are other reasons for brain fog too. So it's interesting. I don't know that I ever heard that was one of the symptoms, but it's good for people to know, hey, if you have pain and then you have brain fog, maybe you should go and talk to your doctor about this and see if this is what's happening for you.
Oh, absolutely. And then two other symptoms. I know we're running out of time already. Two other symptoms that I have is lack of coordination.
Okay.
If I a lack of balance, and I also have, I have a hearing deficiency as well, and so I'm not sure if that's linked, but I have a terrible lack of balance. So if I bumped my toe, for example, or if I walked on an uneven surface, I will fall. I have terrible coordination.
Have you always been like that? Has it been like that your whole life?
Yes, it has been.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has been.
Because there's, I don't know if that has to do with fibromyalgia, but I do know being in the special need disability world, there is a test that they do on children when children are lacking coordination and balance problems. And I need to look up what that diagnosis is, but I can give you that and you can look it up and see, hey, does that cover you? I mean, does that sound like it? And maybe it's something that goes with fibromyalgia, or maybe it's something separate. I mean, like my dad has that now. He didn't used to, but see now he's in a place we've talked about where he is. So, his goes with Parkinson's, but you probably don't show any other Parkinson's symptoms, do you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So it's interesting. I need to look that up for you because it may have some answers. You may go, yeah, no, that's not true. That's not me at all. But I just remember looking through some stuff not too long ago and having to answer questions about that and about my child and saying, yeah, no, that's not what's happening. But then there being a diagnosis for that, if that is, if somebody has that. So since you've had it your whole life, that would be interesting to know, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And then 2 other symptoms, because we're really running.
I know, I can't believe it. I know, but it always happens to us, doesn't
it? It does. It does. I also have issues with my vision.
Okay.
I never linked this to fibromyalgia as well, but from an early age, I would see like it would seem like I have little dust particles. I can see dust particles.
Oh, okay. So is it your vision is intensified so that you can see that, or is it what they call floaters?
I don't know, but I think it's floaters.
Mm-hmm.
My vision isn't that great. I mean, I'm nearsighted.
Okay.
But I don't think that specifically. But I think the fact that I have these floaters and I can see things, in the air, that is a symptom of the fibromyalgia.
Okay.
So definitely vision, and then another thing is dizziness. That's another symptom.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one for me that's quite intense is temperature control. I feel heat and I feel cold very, very intensely. And so, summers will feel uncomfortable, but winter is worse because the cold air will attack my bones.
Right.
And so I have a really hard time in winter because my senses of hot and cold is exaggerated. So I would feel it more intensely than a person who doesn't have fibromyalgia.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, and that's hard because I know that winters are hard for me as well. I can do the summers, I can do the heat, but boy, that cold, and I tend to stay cold all winter long, So I understand, and it's pretty miserable sometimes.
Oh yes, it is. It absolutely is. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're out of time. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's joined us live today. Thank you to all our replay viewers. We hope that this conversation about fibromyalgia has helped you. And if you suspect you have fibromyalgia, go and ask your doctor about it. Talk about it.
Yes.
Do some research. There's no need. When I grew up, we didn't have access to information the way we have it today. We didn't have access to the amount of doctors we have today.
Right.
So things are different.
Yeah.
We do have options today. We've got support systems today. So don't suffer in silence. Do your homework, do your research, ask your doctor if you display any of those symptoms, not in isolation, but all at the same time, possibly. Go and ask and join a support group. So I want to say a huge big thank you. Mary, I always enjoy our time together like this.
Me too.
So I want to say thank you to you too, as my co-host. Always wonderful having you.
Well, I love sitting with you and chatting too. It's great.
It is. So thanks everyone, and we'll see you again back next week. So from me, Bridgetti in Cape Town, it's bye for now.
And me from Tennessee, Mary Elizabeth Jackson. We'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.